going to talk about the Doves real quick, and I appreciate you talking to me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you because you do so much. I know you're so involved and you love Christian music like I do. And so it's when they ask you, when they talk to you about hosting or being involved in the Dove Awards, you're so involved over the years, I know. And it would seem like a no-brainer for me if I was guessing for you that you say, yeah, I want to be involved. Why is that? Why are you so
Wow.
happy to be a part of it?
Well, first of all, I love this genre. As you know, and I've already said, I've been a fan of Christian music since I was a little girl. It's really the majority of the music I've ever listened to. And I was a fan first, long before I ever got to be involved. And I have to be honest that I can sincerely and genuinely say that I have never lost the wonder that I get to do it. That like I actually get to be a part of it, and that CeCe Winans knows my name still absolutely floors me. And you know, things like that that are just like the little girl in me that I don't think I'll ever lose that wonder of it all. But also, I think this year is extra special because last year we didn't get to be together. And the thought that we get to be together again in this way, it just makes it extra special. You know, there's so many parts of it. I've been taking a moment to look back over all the years that I've been involved. I think sometimes you can forget to do that because you get caught up in the now moment of what's right now and what's right in front of us. You sometimes forget to just take a moment and look back. And I've literally found myself weeping over the last few weeks, looking back at all of these moments I've had the opportunity to be involved in. And it just makes me extra grateful to get to do it again this time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I remember, and I don't know how long ago it's been, but it's been a while. It's before your first CD. It was debuting at GMA week. And when we interviewed, I think you were in one of the hotels. I came up there for an interview.
Yeah.
And you said overnight they had put your face on all the doors or something. Or do you remember that? You know, from your first CD, and how
I forget. All of a sudden, the hotel is leaving me, but it was the GMA hotel. Remember that?
Right? Yeah. And you were like, I didn't know they were going to put my face in front of everybody's doors overnight or something. You know, it was that first like, CD, the Benson CD.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, the first self-titled.
Yeah.
1999.
Oh wow, yeah. So that's been a while.
It's been a minute.
And yeah, so that's awesome. And when you get involved and when you do when you're a host, is there any trepidation with that? Or I mean, you know, some people like to sing on stage, some people like to talk on stage. You don't get a whole lot of people like to do both. So is that still in your comfort zone?
It is. I mean, you know, it's always a little nerve-wracking because you're really hoping that the script writer doesn't write in a bunch of dumb jokes.
Yeah.
That you're like, you want to remind everybody, I didn't write that.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and so that part of it, and just making sure that it doesn't. I remember the very first time I ever hosted was in 2007. And I was still finding my legs, if you will. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, yes, I'd had a record in 99, then I had a record come out in 2002, maybe, or something like that, or 3, but my first successful record in the world's eyes, I guess, as you'd put it, was in 2005. And so I still felt like I was figuring it all out. And I think, you know, how do I put it? I don't want to say that I was a striver, but unfortunately, if I'm being honest, I probably was a little bit, you know, striving for just making it work. And that was a different stage of life where I was less comfortable in my own skin. But this year I'm turning 50. And I'm like, wow. Listen, I'm so much more comfortable in my own skin, and I feel so excited about where the genre is at the moment and all of this crop of artists that are coming that, you know, I still just marvel at the fact that I get to be in that circle, and that after all these years, I'm still have an invitation to the party is a wonderful
Right.
and humbling thing. But then I also look and I'm like, Christian music is going to continue to advance. And there's so many artists that love Jesus and are, promoting the message of Christ. And I think the older I get, by the grace of God, the striving is melted away and more of a celebration of, wow, what a gift it is that we get to proclaim the hope of Jesus through music is what's kind of at the forefront,
Yeah, very good. I want to just mention something to you. I don't know if I shared this with you. I know we've talked many times over the years, but there was an artist back in the 90s who, was pretty popular. And then when he came back to GMA, he wasn't, he was kind of starting over again or whatever, and didn't really have the following he did. So I interviewed him one year at GMA, and he was talking about how he had been at something and somebody who he played with or something is like, kind of brushed him off, like, you're not important anymore or whatever. But he told me, he said, then I saw Natalie Grant and she just gushed over me and made me feel so good, and that you kind of, that God kind of sent you there with him to remind him of, the place he used to have, in the industry. And so I just wanted to affirm you in that, because I always thought of that. When I hear your name, when I think of you, I think of, that's a very kind thing to do. And meant a lot to him and meant a lot to me.
That means a lot. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah. Do you have a special Dove Awards memory? Anything that's like your favorite from all the ones you've been to?
It's so funny because I've looked back. I've been sharing on my social media flashbacks of all the different performances I've done. And I didn't realize how many I had done. I think this year, because I'm hosting, but I'm also performing. And I think this might be my 10th or 11th performance. So there's been some really special ones. One was with Winona, and that was in 2008. And that was, singing gospel is my favorite. And we just sang gospel, and singing with her was incredible. But listening back to the performance, the background singers were just otherworldly incredible. They deserved their own moment. And so that was a special performance. In 2011, I got to perform with Lecrae, and I think that was unexpected for a lot of people. And it was a really fun performance. But probably for me, my most memorable might have been, I don't remember the year. I want to say it was maybe 16 or 17. No, 17, I just had surgery to remove cancer. So it was 16. And I did King of the World. And I tagged it with an old hymn, 'Tis So Sweet to Trust in Jesus. And it was kind of a spontaneous moment. And my husband just followed. It was just Bernie and I. And there was just something that was very not performance oriented about it, and just kind of just he and I. And I remember the audience's reaction. And I think that probably will go down as my favorite one.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Well, we look forward to seeing it. I wish I'm going to be in Orlando, so I can't make it this year. But
hopefully you can watch it. For me, there's a little thing that people don't know that's going to be just personally special for me. So the first time I ever hosted the Dove Awards was in 2007. And I had just given birth to my twins. They were 7 weeks old. So I don't actually remember most of the hosting. I see pictures of it and I'm like, well, I know I did it, but everything was still a blur. I wasn't sleeping at that stage. But this year I'm performing as well. And I have a choir that's backing me up, and my twins are singing in the choir.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a full circle moment for me that is really, really special. If I won't be able to turn around because I'll probably cry. So it'll be very special.
Any meetings over the years at the Doves? Because sometimes I've heard performers say this is the only time we see each other, even though we live in Nashville. Right. But anybody you've met at the Doves, it's like, oh wow,
Well, I didn't get to meet her, but my most memorable moment at the Doves was before my first record ever came out. It was in 1998. I had two favorite singers growing up, and that was CeCe Winans and Whitney Houston. And Whitney Houston showed up on the stage that night nobody knew she was coming. And I was like, literally, life cannot, and they were singing together. Whitney and
Yeah.
together. I was like, yeah, I pretty much can go on home to glory now, because the greatest moment of my life just happened before my very eyes. But then since then, there's always a wonderful camaraderie. And so for me, it's not so much of a meeting as much as it is a moment of friendship of all these artists. I love gospel music, is my favorite. And so to see a bunch of gospel artists that are friends, but that I don't normally tour in the same circles with, that's usually the most fun for me, is seeing, and I get to host with one of my favorite, which is Jonathan McReynolds. So he's fantastic.
Cool. I'm going to talk to him in about an hour, I think.
Incredible. He's got such a dry sense of humor, wit, sarcasm. So I'm actually really excited to see what he brings off the cuff that they don't know that he's going to say.
Oh yeah, cool. It's so great to talk to you, and
Good to talk to you again.
take care of those girls, and they're beautiful, and I know you're proud. So
yeah, it's the greatest gift.
Yeah.
To be
Thank you. Thanks for all you do.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Bye.